So, welcome to Ditching Diets. And I hope the word it will be for each and every one of you. It'll be ditching diets forever, because I feel diets are super dangerous to our physical health and our mental health and our spiritual health. I think are really just damaging. And so and I'm going to share why. I'm going to share my screen so you can see. And I think because sometimes people are different kinds of learners. So I want to be able to have, if you're a visual learner, to use this. So we're going to learn about basically why are diets not sustainable. First of all, they're not sustainable because they lead to other problems, eating disorders. Sometimes it might be anorexia, bulimia, but binge eating disorder. And all of them are really, really dangerous to the body. The other thing that I have found in my life when I have dieted, and just so you know, I'm not one of those perfect people that have never dieted and I'm just a registered dietitian and I'm just sharing you. So my story is I am a registered dietitian because I had passion for, I noticed how food changed when I ate good healthy food, how it changed how I felt. I learned, and I wanted to learn more about that. And so that's where I got to. But that doesn't mean that I had an eating disorder when I was a teenager. And then after I got divorced my first time, I went back into it at 30 years old. So for a year and a half. So I know what the dangers are, and everything that I'm going to go through here, I've experienced. So this is I'm really just trying to say there's like, it will really help you if you can like make that commitment that I'm no longer going to diet. And the other thing that I also learned here is food and body preoccupation. I was so concerned with everything. I couldn't think about anything else. Like I have a greater purpose to live here, to enjoy my life. It was all about food, preoccupied, and look, how did my body look? How did my body look? So, I think that, and then the other thing dieting leads to is reduced self-esteem. For example, I always had friends that were thinner than me, but they just had naturally body types that were different than mine. And we just have to accept and learn who we are is who we are. We all have different sizes, but we have to love the skin that we're in, that we were given. Stigmatization that leads to discrimination, right? I mean, how often is that happening? Whether you're doing it to somebody else or you're feeling it being done to you. It happens a lot in doctors' offices, right? And there's a lot of shame that goes around that. And dieting, guess what else it leads to is weight gain. Unfortunately, it thinks it's the other way around. So raise your hand if you've ever dieted. Yeah. So, and we know it's not the permanent solution because we see it all the time. It's like this diet, that diet, every month it's a different one, but it does lead to so many issues. And like I said, I'm just going to kind of reiterate because I want you to really feel this in your body and understand this is true. Dieting leads to binge eating, reduced metabolism, preoccupation with food, feelings of being deprived, right? Feelings of being deprived leads to that binge eating and cravings, right? Increased sense of failure, that you're not good enough, and then a decreased sense of willpower that you just can't do it. So, because dieting, basically, like any word with the word diet, is definitely not a good word. But dieting mentality, it takes away the trust in our body. The rules that we have, they dictate our food choices, not paying attention to really how we feel. So we want to learn how to pay attention to our own body signals, what our body is telling us that it wants and what it needs to thrive and to live the life you were meant to live. So this is the thing that I really want to stress. Dieting leads to cognitive dissonance. So dieting, cognitive dissonance is like black and white thinking, that there's no shade of gray in there. It's like, it's a clash between what you're experiencing to be true and what you're told to do, right? So it really leads to that confusion about eating. And then the end result is, I don't know what to eat anymore. So that's where, hey, people like me come in handy, just to help give you guidance. Yes, I do believe inside of you, you have the knowledge to be able to figure that out. But sometimes we need to work with other people that maybe who have gone through it, or can help guide you into that place that you're going to feel safe, and that you're doing, that you are okay. And so you can know what to eat again. Some people say that they've given up dieting, but they're still dieting. They're still counting calories. They're counting macros. They're buying foods with low calorie. They're only eating at certain times a day. They drink a bunch of energy drinks. They when they go out in public, they eat just ever so perfectly, but yet after they get home, they're eating whatever they can out of their kitchen sink, just so that plays a role. And then second guessing what you deserve to eat. I had a client today, I felt so bad for her because she was like on vacation and just having a really challenging time. The weather isn't good. And for her, it's like, I can't eat anymore. I'm too big, and I'm just going to have a salad the rest of the vacation. So that's like, unfortunately, now she's not able to enjoy her husband and this time that she's there. So here's another one, vegetarian. That's another one that you hear gluten-free, right? Some people need to be on a gluten-free diet. I'm not saying that there isn't a purpose of that, but those are different ways of pseudo dieting. Does anybody understand what I'm saying? Does this make sense? I just want to be able to get your pulse here. Okay. So this is the dieter's dilemma. First, the desire to be thin, right? It's not really to be thin. It's to have your confidence back. It's right to be able to be you, to show up as you. But then we diet. Diet means we restrict or eat certain foods and eliminate certain other food groups. And then what happens is we get cravings because we're missing those foods that our body needs, those nutrients that our bodies need. And then we have cravings and reduce self-control, and then we binge, right? We're out of control, we're overeating, and then we regain the weight that we lost, and then we want to get thin again, and you just stay, like, it's almost like a hamster wheel, right? It's over and we feel like shit, right? Like that's the end result. That's why my invitation is, let's get off of this mentality and like really like leave it in the past. So how do we do that? New paradigm shift. So finding a support system to lean on. Like, we can't do everything alone. Research shows that people who are part of group programs versus working on one-on-one get better and longer lasting results. Develop friendships with community of people with similar values, goals, and interests. So I here at Vitality have a couple different options there. So I have a meditation group on Monday nights. So now we're back to meeting in person. At some points it goes to virtual, but if anybody ever wants to join virtually, there's that aspect. I have different programs. Like right now I have an 4-week program going on, a Fresh Start program. That's a community program. Everybody's there doing the same thing. Then I have a year-long program that starts in March. It's called Love Your Body, Love Your Life, where we learn all these things. We break the cycles. We create a new paradigm for ourselves. It's a lifestyle medicine approach, but people who are all working on that same goals, and it really does make a difference. Like, yes, it's successful when people work one-on-one with me, but I really find when they take that next step to be with a group, like that Weight Watchers mentality, I think it's really powerful. However, the next thing is that when we reject dieting, we can truly develop a positive relationship with food. And that's the key, is to be able to eat what you love and not eat the things you don't love. Yes, some things your body might not like at first, and you have to keep developing a relationship. But like one of my clients the other day, he says to me, yeah, I never thought I would like beets, but I've been eating them for a year now. And, I really like them. Happens all the time. Oh, I've been drinking this almond milk and I didn't like it at first, but not that I can have a glass of it, but it's fine to put in a smoothie and have it in cereal and stuff. So, it takes time. Your body knows like if it's good for us or not, that's the key. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But just realizing in our lives, unfortunately, this planet is a work planet. There's no quick fix. There's no magic pill ever. Like there just isn't. And if any promises of it, like it's not the way it is. We have to do the work. We have to show up and do the work. Yeah, sometimes it's hard. Sometimes we're going to fall down. But guess, is everybody a mother here? Just curious. Raise your hand. Yes. Okay. So here, this perfect example with our children. Like we didn't. They were like learning to crawl, right? And then they stood up and they learned that they fell down and they kept trying and they fell down and and then they started running and they kept falling down. It's same thing. We have to have that childlike mentality, because guess what? In life, I was just reading The Alchemist for my third time, and I loved reading what he wrote in there, because you might fall down 7 times, but the 8th time you can stand back up, right? And that's really the key. Sometimes we give up because we're adults, but we can't give up. We have to, maybe you've tried 15 diets before, but you haven't necessarily really given a full shot to have a lifestyle approach, right? And this could be your time. That's what my invitation is. And know that it's not that, working with me, it's going to be, not going to be, it's going to be quicker. You're going to spend a lot less years, but it doesn't mean it's going to be 6 months, or it might be 2 years, it might be 3 years, but sometimes it's okay. You're worth it, right? My experience is if you don't give this, then later on in life, you're on dialysis, you're, in a wheelchair, you are on tons of medicine and you feel like crap, right? Like there's a myriad of things that happen. So you're worth it. And just remember that you are so worth it. And so the fork has become akin, I love this, to a loaded gun. One wrong move loads the trigger. So causing anxiety every time you eat. And, you're not one bite away from a heart attack or obesity. So 3 secrets to ditching the diet. Stop dieting. Number 2, discover who you are. Eat foods that nourish you, that you enjoy, and that make you feel good. And yeah, now you're going to have to figure that out. And it's fun. It can be really fun to really truly do that. And the third is to become a conscious eater. Learn what a conscious eater is. And we'll talk a little bit about that in a second. So the first thing is learning that, admitting that dieting is dangerous to you. So dieting literally damages your biological health. People who yo-yo diet and they gain and they lose and they gain, it causes really serious damage to their liver. And that I see, it can cause more fatty liver than just having extra weight on you. When we diet over and over, it slows the rate of weight loss. It causes cravings. It causes binges. Here's a study, that 32-year-old study, 3,000 men and women, they did the yo-yo dieting. They have a higher overall death rate and twice the normal risk of dying from heart disease. And basically, yo-yo dieting is equal to being obese, overeating, and body shape to change. More weight, what happens is more weight gets centered here. This is where we have more visceral fat, is more dangerous to us. And also when that change, it can cause more headaches, fatigue, hair loss is another one that happens, dry skin. Oh yeah, I did have hair loss on there. So, keeping that in mind. So dieting has an emotional and psychological impact. like I've spoken, it leads to eating disorders. It can cause stress, feelings of failure, lowered self-esteem, more anxiety. You know, when we overeat because we've violated the diet, right? And so discipline and willpower are two different things, right? So discipline is key. Remember, I said you have to do the work. Like the work is, and the discipline is showing up with small things, mastering it. You just do it over and over again. You master one aspect, and then you find another one and you work on that one, you know, and then you go to another one. You don't try to do everything. That's what diet is. You're just trying to do everything. You just want it to be done so fast, right? And like we just talked about, you can do it and you can do it fast, but it's not sustainable. That is the key, right? Aren't we looking for a more sustainable earth? We're looking for a more sustainable way of living. If COVID has taught us anything, it's really important to live in harmony with what our own deep values are, right? The love of ourselves, the love of our family, our friends, to love our profession, to love our community, right? To love the earth, to love the world, right? Like that's key. So the discipline is that you do that work, you do the good things for yourself and for all those that we love, right? Willpower is when we're dieting, we're going against our natural desires and we replace them with these rules, right? You can't have sweets, you can't have carbs. Now, I'll give you mine. So I have a very fond relationship with chocolate chip cookies. I love chocolate chip cookies. And, you know, I love homemade chocolate chip cookies. I love them from certain places. There's one place in Cape May I love. There's a place in Philadelphia. I just love a good chocolate chip cookie. And I have really fond memories of me and my sister making chocolate chip cookies and going in and sleeping in the same bed. She's 5 years younger than me, and us laughing because we had to sleep in the same bed because my grandmother would stay over when she would stay over. But it was so fun. So I have really good memories of that, and I just love them. But they're on the bad list for me for many, many years. Like they were like not the food. So in Ocean City is where I was living and I was raising my kids and I was single mom. So I'm not going to say life was easy for me at that time. So I was also an exerciser and I would run on the beach every day. And there's a place in Ocean City. They switched hands, but so the chocolate chip cookie isn't the same. But 4th Street Cafe had the best chocolate chip cookie. It was like this big and it was so good. But I had this rule, can't eat it, can't eat it. But I was craving it. And there was this one day, I remember I was running on the beach. It was really hot. It was beautiful. And I'm like, I just like dropped to my knees. I am not doing this anymore. I am done. If I want, I'm no more food rules. And that was it. It was like the decision I made that I'm going to eat whatever I want. And right there was like this big shift. So, you know, I did end up going and get the chocolate chip cookie and totally enjoying it. And it was like this big, like, aha moment for me. Do you know what? I don't eat as many as chocolate chip cookies as I did. I don't bake as many chocolate chip cookies because I can have it. I choose to have it when I want to have it. Right. Where before I never could, didn't want it. And then the next thing you know, I was sneaking it and, you know, and oh my gosh, my daughter, I feel so bad for her. Like the things that I have done, like I would get it and I would eat it and I would spit it out. I mean, I was crazy, you know, I'm just giving you like, I'm just giving you the truth of where I came from. So, and I'm just saying it works. Like this truly is sustainable. If you want something, you eat it. It doesn't, and then maybe you learn in time that you don't have to eat, you know, like for me, I would eat like 10 of them, you know, I mean, like crazy amounts. But now I've learned I can, you know, be very moderate with what I eat. So sorry if I'm sharing, but I just want to like really let you know that it, like, I feel like this works. I'm not just like giving you I think I'm sorry, I'm going back. So yeah, seeking support. I really find that is the key, and here I'm a business owner, right? So keeping in connection with other business owners is like where I need to be. If not, I'd be very lonely. So I have, different groups that I'm involved with different entrepreneurs to help me keep my business on track, right? And to have this support. And I'm there for them. One of them called me this morning while I was making my oatmeal and roasting my potato and making my eggs. I'm like, okay, talk to you, but I'm cooking as we're speaking. But I was able to help her, support her with what she had going on today. And so that's what I love about seeking support. It helps hold you accountable. You learn from each other. You motivate and be there when others are going through something difficult. So that is the key. We want to stay away from negative people. We want to stay away from people that are going to sabotage our efforts, right? And that is the key. And I'm not saying you can't love them and bless them, but we need to know that they're not the people. And sometimes they don't want us to be successful. Like, okay, just saying, some people just don't. Maybe this isn't in your life, but some want to keep us exactly where we are. They don't want us to grow and flourish. And recognizing that doesn't mean you need to disown them, but maybe not spend as much time with them, or maybe spend time with them in different places that's going to help you help you grow and transform. Because sometimes those muscles of what we're talking about, we don't have those muscles. Just like we start anything, you go to the gym for the first time in a while, you're really sore, right? And you're not, it takes time to like do those same exercises and not be sore. Okay, and this is one of my favorite things. So if you haven't gotten anything, I love this one. The scale. The scale is the false idol. Okay, one trip to that scale, you might have been eating really well that week, and you've been exercising and drinking water and getting your sleep. And then you get on the scale and it does not show all that effort you put in for the past week. And you're like, oh shit, this sucks. I'm a failure, right? And it goes back to that whole thing. This doesn't work. No, it doesn't matter. I'm just going to eat whatever I want, right? It's just going to be. So when we use that as our like end all be all, we're not focusing on it. It is a measurement. Yes, it is a measurement, but it's not focusing on like what really matters. What really matters is that the behavior change. That's what really matters. Behavior change, meaning eventually with the positive behaviors, consistently with the discipline, right? There will be changes that is made. So my experience with that is having a day of the week that you do weigh yourself. Whether personally, I like Tuesday or Wednesday. I think those are great days. I do not like the days of like Saturday morning, because then you could sabotage either way. You could sabotage. I'm doing so good. Look at me. Since Monday, it's Saturday. I'm down 6 pounds. This is fabulous, right? And guess what? You end up having so much other stuff because you gave yourself a lot. And it's not necessarily like back to that conscious eater, right? And then you get on the scale on Sunday and you're like, oh my God, look, I gained like 4 of those pounds back. And now you're back on that cycle. You're back on that hamster wheel, all because you got on the scale. So, I mean, a lot of times, like when I'm working with my clients, I'm not having you get on the scale every single time, or I'm not letting you know what your weight is. Like there's a myriad of that. So keeping that. And like I said, the scale, another thing, people are afraid of getting on the scale and they don't go to the doctor. Okay, because they don't want the doctor to judge them or, make you have shame because you're already feeling it. I know that's really hard, but at the same time, we need to go to the doctor. We need real life checkups, right? We need to know, honestly, we need to look in the mirror, what is going on. So I know that's a hard one, but I feel like sometimes I'm like I'm like the middle of the road. Okay, I want to go to the doctor, but let me go to the nutritionist first, and then we'll get to the doctor. I see that a lot, and I really think it's important that we keep um, track of going for our well visits, because then you can get a good picture. So I just had to throw that in there. So how do we handle this? We eat foods that are nourishing. So foods that are nutrient dense are going to help support our body. So those are our vegetables, our fruits, our whole grains, starchy foods like potatoes, winter squash, our beans, our legumes, nuts and seeds, and our lean proteins. So you notice there's all the food groups listed there. We need all of them. We can't take, yes, maybe there's a food allergy and we might take it out, but we can't, because those are what thrives our body. Yes, each of us individually have different needs. Maybe one needs more protein and one needs less. And, yes, we have different needs, but generally we need to have that. And if we do this and we eat these in the proper portions, we don't necessarily have cravings, because our body is getting what they need. So the second step is, who am I? Get to know you. We want to practice self-care. We want to get good sleep. We want to eat those good foods, so surrounding ourselves with positive people, learning what your core values are. If you know what your core values are, it's going to help every decision that you make, so you're going in the right direction. Because guess what? Sometimes it's not about the food. It's about these other things where we have core values of family, right? But yet there's different things that are pulling us away, and we're not getting to have that time. Whatever those values are, we need to know what they are so we can base our life on them. And then both of you are mothers, right? Developing self-compassion and practice every day. So as much as we would nourish, if our children fall down, we're going to hold them, we're going to love them no matter what. Even if they make big mistakes, we still love them, and we congratulate them for trying. We're like, good for you, it's great. But we need to do that same thing for ourselves. Not easy, because that's not how, I don't know, for some reason we're not brought up that way. But we need to catch ourselves with when we talk negative to ourselves, when we beat ourselves up and we hear ourselves saying negative things about ourselves. That's important. And in my program, in the Love Your Body program, we really focus a lot on that. And it's really interesting when we do group sessions with that, we get a chance to really learn, because we'll break in on like one-on-ones with each other, and really get a chance to really share and learn some stuff about you that you didn't even know, deep beliefs that you have. Because sometimes that's what it is. It's like we need to learn about ourselves in a whole new way. So self-care, I hear a lot of people like, okay, what do you do for self-care? Well, I watch TV, like that might be one. But really self-care is attending to your own body's needs, emotional needs, and that include like shaping your life with like healthy routines, relationships, living in harmony with your environment, getting good sleep. So those with self-care. But self-care could be packing a snack, knowing that you're going to be out all day, and I better bring myself a snack. I just got called that my mom's in the hospital. I better pack a snack, right? Because you're there to support and nurture, but you need to bring something for yourself, so you're not in the cafeteria or at the vending machine getting a candy bar, because that's not going to support your end results, right? Realizing that you haven't eaten for a long time and it's time to grab a bite. Now, I know like a lot of times you hear people, self-care is massage. And no, it's these simple things are self-care. Tuning in, what am I going to eat? Like if I am not feeling well, what is something that's not going to, hurt me? But self-care could also be, giving myself a nap when I need it. I better get to bed early. Maybe I could take a bath. I haven't taken a bath in a long time. Or making a habit. I really love taking baths. It's a nice day. Let me take my dog out for a walk. I really like it when I do that. So adopting the principle, I can eat anything I want. If anything, I said, that is a wonderful mantra. I can eat anything I want. And that's a really good one. Let go of food rules. Instead of saying, I can't eat this, I choose not to eat this today. So I don't really want it. I don't like how it made me feel the last time. I was felt a bit fatigued. I was really gassy, I don't want to eat that again, like the thing I know with our bodies, that I hear this for myself and other people. Like if you go to a restaurant and you're eating at the restaurant and you came home and you had like diarrhea the next day, you won't go back into that restaurant. Like you just won't, or you won't get that food. You're like, no, not doing that. But sometimes we'll deal with a little bit of bloating, or we'll deal with a little bit of fatigue, right? But really, we shouldn't, because guess what? We do not, if COVID taught us anything, we do not know how many days that we are blessed on this planet. We have no idea. We don't know our future. We think we have longevity, but we don't know. So we don't want to waste every breath we take is a gift, right? And so that's my point of view. So I love this. Instead of saying I can't, I choose. And even if you decide to want to eat something. So for me, chocolate chip cookie, right? Like I'm choosing to eat this chocolate chip cookie because I want to, right? Choosing to. When you even say that out loud or even mentally to yourself, guess what? And this research is there too, like to back up what I'm saying, but you will find it's true. You will eat less of it by saying that I choose to, instead of, just doing it unconsciously. Like get it over, you don't even know what happened, or like watching it, watching TV. Being in the moment with it will be a different thing. So I also have some other presentations coming up. That Curb the Cravings is one that is a really great one to attend. So you can, it's a good one to like a mindful eating kind of approach. And I will in the future. I don't know, Chris, are you local?
I'm in Forked River, so I'm not that
Forked
local.
River. So you're not that far. What, 74?
Yeah.
Okay.
And where is your office?
We are in Linwood, so we're exit 36.
Okay.
So it's a bit of a journey, but I do a lot of programs virtually as well. But sometimes I'm just curious if you are, but I used to do pre-COVID a lot of mindful eating in-person sessions, and they're just great because I bring food, we get a chance to eat, and we get a chance to really practice. Because like when you talk about mindful eating, everybody isn't necessarily, you don't sit home and like, oh, let me do this. It's like, only like me as a dietitian would do that kind of things with my kids, but like it's nice because you learn a lot. And then here's another one, using words like I get to, but you can use this regardless, not necessarily just dealing with food. I get to, instead of saying I have to. Oh my gosh, just feel that, I get to instead of I have to, right? It's so much more freeing. So yeah, definitely take notes on that. If I want, I can eat whatever food I like. I can have anything that looks good to me. It just makes me feel so much better when I have that mindset. But using that word of I choose, because when you start to pay attention and become that conscious eater, you're able to be aware of what makes your body feel good, and realize, knowing that we are not, sometimes we think these bodies are very stagnant. They are constantly changing. We change as physical people so often, like every cell of our body will change. So we have to understand our needs are going to change as we go through different life cycles of the body. And we're going to need different things at different times, and even different times of the year. And so we have to learn to connect that. We can't be in that rigid thing. What worked one time isn't going to always work. We have to be dynamic and resilient. So once again, I'm really big into our mental self-talk and how we talk to others, and I want you to start to pay attention to how you are talking to your loved ones or to the people at work. Get rid of the must, I ought to, should. I hate that word. Should is like, could is a nice one. Need to, supposed to, have to. when you catch yourself, just find, more gentler words. I get to, I choose to. I can, it's okay. I may, I choose, I desire. Those are so much more powerful words. And just start to notice through your own life this week how you're talking to yourself. That one thing, and you use that for a while, you're going to notice how your life is going to really, really change. And it doesn't necessarily, like I said, it doesn't have to be just surrounded food. It could be in other aspects of your life. Because remember, my belief, it's never really about the food. My eating disorders were about what I could control. I was a single mom with 2 kids. How am I going to survive? How am I going to support these 2 beings here alone, right? But the food I could control. It was something that I could, so we all have different things like that. It might be, food can be soothing, right? We have all these emotions going on in our world, and and we have other people going through, their own traumas. Well, oh, okay, well, I'm going to soothe and numb, right? We can use food in so many different ways, but that's not really what today's about. It's really about empowering you to ditch that way of being, that dieting. But these are really good questions. Asking yourself, am I hungry? How do I feel when I eat that? Do I want it? Or is it just a habit? A lot of times, some of this stuff is just habits. It's just like these deep, deep ruts that we've just gotten ourselves into. Same thing with the amounts of foods we eat. We're just doing this because it's a habit. It's just what we've always done. Does it taste good? Like, are we really tasting it? Sometimes, we might eat something and we're just eating it because we know it's a bad food and we know it's going to have a hormonal response in us, and didn't actually taste it. That's why I love the mindful eating practices. Will I feel deprived if I don't? How am I feeling? So you deserve to eat without feeling guilt. And you could say that, I deserve to eat without feeling guilt. And you do. And then asking self, like, is my body experiencing hunger? Am I comfortably full and satisfied? And that's another one, playing around with how much. Sometimes, research states if we take where there's a lot of research about food and volume and size of containers, but volume of food, we're generally used to eating a certain volume of food. So, which is kind of challenging when we want to like get ourselves to a different place, right? So a lot of times what people do, the dieting part, we cut it back. We cut it back more than 20%. That's where we feel deprived, because the body has, ways of being. It's used to, it knows it's going to get a certain amount of food, right? So if we start to cut back just 10 or 20%, the body won't necessarily know, and it's not going to feel deprived. So we want to be very aware. You want to slowly cut your portions down, not dramatically, and then maybe change your portions. Because a lot of times most people don't eat enough of the nourishing foods, the vegetables. So kind of thinking like that. And then, is my hunger, above above the neck, or is it, below the neck, and that's the thing, because sometimes it's really about up here. It's not necessarily physical hunger, it's emotional hunger, and being related to recognize, and once again, use those words. I'm choosing this, and recognizing it, be able to connect. This is an emotional hunger, and stating that to yourself. Those are first steps. These are big steps. I know they might not seem like, oh no, I just want to get it done, I'd rather do the diet, but these are things that will be sustainable in the long run. These will change your life. You're going to be so empowered. You're going to have so much confidence. You're going to love the skin that you're in by doing these things. These are to me, these are the things that really make the difference. Am I eating too fast? Sometimes when we eat too fast, once again, it's all this brain and this body is all connected, but we eat so fast, the brain doesn't know we ate. So we still think we're hungry 20 minutes later, right? It doesn't remember that first, but so slowing down. Do I eat mindfully? Do I take the time to taste my food? This is my favorite question. Is this food supporting my daily activities? Do I feel like lethargic at the end of the day? Do I feel overwhelmed? We want to be able to create a meal plan that supports our life. I think that's really important. So these are like what a conscious eater would look like. I'm so glad I gave up dieting. I can eat anything I want whenever I want. I sure would love to eat chocolate chip cookie. You eat the chocolate chip cookie. It was delicious. I'm satisfied with just this one. I tasted it. There's nothing like a homemade chocolate chip cookie. Now you feel satisfaction, pleasure, contentment. And you leave the rest of those cookies, to either give away to somebody else or have for another day, right? And now you're free to enjoy the afternoon with grandma without thinking of the chocolate chip cookie, right? It's like a freedom. It's really about that. Now I'm going to just do the opposite, thinking like a dieter. I've been so good on my diet for the past few weeks. I sure would love to have one of those chocolate chip cookies, but I can't. And you could put your own thing in. I shouldn't. So eat the chocolate chip cookie. Oh, I shouldn't have done that. That was really stupid. I have no willpower. I'm so out of control. Oh my gosh, I'm so fat. It's no, oh my gosh, I'm never going to be able to do this. So you could say like, which one felt better? Do you feel that? Like that's, and I'm just going to ask you like right here, I think it's a really good opportunity. Just if you want to unmute and just share, like, what do you feel like from what we've spoken about?
It seems to make a lot of sense. There's definitely a lot of thinking that goes on in dieting that is not, I guess, helpful to your self-esteem or yourself.
Yeah, it's true. It's not for self-esteem at all. And exactly, a lot of shame and a lot of energy goes into it, doesn't it?
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's definitely like a mental thing for sure. And I mean, this helps out a lot with that, like changing your way of thinking, you know what I mean? Not just, you know, like only eating certain foods, you know what I mean? Like you have to change your mental like thought process and make
Yeah,
it
and
help.
that's it. That's it. That's that paradigm as I spoke about it. The first thing is changing that. And yes, it's a lot. And I know I gave a lot today about things, but that's where I just want you to find like just find one thing. I mean, I can send you this recording, you could watch it again, but just finding a few things that you're able to go with and then you work on and then you go to another thing because like I said, I gave a lot of different things, but not everything that I said resonated with everybody at this time. It might resonate with you at another time. Some of it might be like, yeah, that's good, but I'm not ready for that, right? Like, and recognize that. But I always like to say this part too. Whenever we have a lot of resistance to something I said, there's usually something underneath there that you might want to look at. Because you might be like, that might be the thing you might need to do the most. Like the thing you hated I said the most, might be something you want to look at.
Mhm.
And so this is another one, multitasking. I learned a while ago, I am the worst multitasker in the world. Like, and I don't want to multitask. And I'll say it out loud. No, I'm sorry, I'm not doing that. I'm doing something else right now. I'll get back to that later. Like, that's the thing with food. Because if we eat and work, or we eat, even when we're talking to, out to eat, like, I'm not saying that's not a good thing, but what I'm saying is like, when we eat and do something else, TV, next thing you know, like if you sat down with a box of something, like what happened? Where'd it go? You ate all of it and you didn't even know, right? Like, so realizing that, like, we don't want to multitask. We want to just eat. And the other thing is standing and eating. Sit down and eat. Sit down and eat. That's key. When we sit down and eat and we don't have any disruptors, that's practicing self-care. That's mindful eating, right? That's key. So we want to look at eating like it's, your glass is blanking out. How do I say this? Look at eating with a glass half full instead of half empty. So when we at a party, you look at everything, the foods, the colors, the flavors. You eat it if you desire it. You may say, look, that looks good, but I'm going to save myself because I know there's going to be something else that you really want to eat. And we only have, just like money, we only have a certain amount of money in our bank account, right? We don't want to go spend it all on Friday after we got paid. We want to like try to save it for those next 2 weeks, right? We don't want to, or it's going to be same thing. Our belly is only, the size. If we eat, we're going to be too full, and then we're going to be uncomfortable, right? So we want to really pay attention to that. You say this food looks terrific. I want to taste everything, but then it's scary. It's overwhelming. And you can say it's okay. It's normal to feel this way when you're ravenous. I'm human. You could say I'm starving, but I'm going to pace myself, so I'm not going to feel too full to enjoy dinner later. And you see all these appetizers. Which's best for me right now? Oh, I haven't had that in a while. I'm going to taste that. Oh, that baked brie looks good. I don't eat that often. And then you eat them both, and that's okay. It's totally okay. It's the shame eating. Okay, just keep that in mind. We all have disordered eating at parties. Like, nobody needs to be perfect at a party. You can overeat. It's the other days of the week that, they're the normal days, and that we're eating because of other things. Either we're tired, we're restricting, right? All those things. But remember, we want to be able to enjoy our life, and it's okay to have a little. So making peace with food. Remember, it's an ongoing process. You want to just start to get curious with your own self. Learn to feel your hunger. Did you ever go to bed hungry at night? Yeah. Sometimes my physiology teacher, anatomy class, told me, like, that's not always hunger. That's what it feels like to have the stomach emptying. Makes perfect sense. But to me, it feels like hunger. But then I wake up in the morning and I'm not hungry. So it really was that, like I thought, but some days you wake up and you're like really hungry, So some days, and sometimes everybody's different. We have different needs. Sometimes we have a lot more mental going on, so we need more foods that way. Some days we're more active, so we need more food. Some days we didn't do that much. We didn't need that much. So our bodies are constantly changing. For us to have certain food rules that we have to follow every single day, that's impossible. It's ridiculous. It's just absolutely, it's crazy, this culture, how messed up we are with food. It's sad. And that's why I do what I do. I want to help people like you make peace with food so you can live the best life and be the best version that you can be in your life. And this is, I believe this. You're not a bad or good person based on what you eat. You're just not. You're a good person because you're human. And that's one of my core values, that all human beings deserve dignity. I also work in nursing homes, and really believe that what I do makes a difference. Whatever yes, I know it might not be a big difference, but making sure that I ask their permission when I go to talk to them. That not treating them like I'm better and you have to open your schedule to me. Sit down on the same level as them. Ask them what they like to eat, making sure that I am able to serve them the best that I can, that why they're there, or if they're there all the time. To me, that's really important. Okay. So, and then just for attending tonight, I would love to be able to schedule in a session with you, just to talk about how I can support you on your journey, whether you decide to work with me one-on-one, whether you want to join one of our programs that we have. And I'll send you out a link tomorrow that you can sign up for that. And then I just want to give us an opportunity to, if you wanted to share or ask any questions, it's a good opportunity for that.
Oh, thank you. I mean, it was very, I think gave a lot of great information and, you know, I feel like I learned a lot from it.
Good, good. I'm glad. Yeah. What about you, Chris? Did you feel like today?
Yeah, it was definitely a different, definitely some hot buttons that you talked about. And
Good.
some different way of thinking about things. So yeah, it was definitely good.
Good, good. So it's like, yeah, definitely. It's a good introduction. Like I said, it's a lot, but this is how I know you could change lives on that dieting mentality.
Mhm.
All right.
So-
So one more question for each of you. Is there anything, I'm always like that person, like, what are you good at? What do you take away? What's that one thing that you're ready to like take action on? Or,
I
ask-
definitely to remove the guilt.
good. Love that, Chris. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. That's really good. What about you, Brandy?
Same thing, like the guilt and the shame of, like what you eat and, like, trying to unlabel, foods as good and bad, like there's no such label, for the food.
Yeah.
So,
That's a really good one. Yeah. Yeah. I want you both to find that food freedom. Yeah. That's great. All right. Well, thank you for spending your evening with me. And would you want the link? I could send you our recording so you could refer
Yeah.
to it then.
yes,
Okay.
please.
All righty. Very good. Have a good night.
Thank
Thank you.
you.
You too.
Bye-bye.